A Pros List exclusive.
Delaney,
Hey,
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. This is our first Instagram Live with the
I,
Pros
s-
List.
I saw that. That's really
Yeah.
cool. You're
So
starting a whole new little feature, right?
yeah, exactly. We thought this was a cool way. Some people want to read blogs, others don't, but this is a nice short form. We'll talk for a few minutes, go over some questions, let people get some insight into you,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, just some quick, good tips and information that you can provide. So.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, so just for those of you who have logged on, just a heads up, we're gonna take a few questions at the end. So if you guys just want to leave your questions in the chat, I hopefully will be able to find them later. Um, but yeah, just a little bit. Obviously, everyone here knows you, Delaney. That's why we're having you on. A big-time Bruin with a very decorated collegiate career as an All-American, many, many trips to the College World Series, and now a current member of Team USA. So tell us a little bit about yourself, how you ended up at UCLA, and then, the journey to Team USA and how that's progressed.
Okay, so I was recruited pretty early with UCLA, and as soon as I went onto campus, I fell in love. I mean, I'm sure you did as well. Campus is absolutely beautiful. And I just knew that once I got on campus and then once I saw the softball and the tradition of softball and the success, that there was nowhere else for me. So I committed pretty young, but I knew right away, and it was definitely a blessing because now looking back, I was only about an hour away from home. I got to see and got to experience every single milestone in my family. And then on top of that, I got a great education, and then I had the best softball experience ever. Like you said, out of my 4 years, I went to 3 College World Series, and they were all different experiences in themselves, and they were amazing experiences. And then from there, it was just an incredible journey of getting on to Team USA. I got my first tryout in 2016. I was a junior and in college, and then from then on, I've tried out every single year and have been on Team USA. We qualified for the Olympics in 2018 in Japan, and then obviously 2019, and then 2020, and then now 2021. So it's been a
Nice,
journey.
yeah.
It's been a really fun journey with UCLA, and I'm so grateful for everything at UCLA, and I fully believe that it got me to where I am today with Team USA. And so yeah, it's been really fun to look back and on my journey through college and then now professionally.
There are a good number of Bruins on that roster with you year in and year
Yeah,
out
there's
for
4 of
USA.
us.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Yeah. I
So,
played with all of them, which is really cool.
oh, that is very cool.
Hmm.
Yeah. So currently, what have you been up to training wise this summer? Obviously, with no pro sports really going for
Hmm.
most of the summer, what's your training look like? I know you're rehabbing right now an
Yeah.
injury.
Hmm.
What's that process been like?
Yeah. So unfortunately, I got injured on our very first game of our Olympic tour in February. So I kind of had to take a step back and strengthen my knee. I was not going to get surgery right away. I was going to power through it and go to the Olympics in July. Just brace it up and
You
suck
have
it up,
to. Yeah, you're
basically.
not gonna miss that.
Exactly. Then obviously with everything that happened in the postponement of the Olympics, I got elected to got surgery, and now I've just been training and rehabbing and just strengthening my knee. And it's been an incredible journey. I know I keep saying that, but it's been a journey with this whole ACL. I've never been injured before. So why not just have one of the most
Yeah, go ahead
the
and do the big
biggest
one.
injury that there
Yeah.
can be, I guess, for an athlete. And so I've learned a lot about myself. I learned a ton about my body. I've learned a ton about the process of overcoming an injury, the mental, the physical. And so that's really what I've been doing. I'm about 5.5 months post surgery. So I am running, I'm jumping, I'm doing
Oh
softball
wow.
activity. So I'm starting to get back into it, which is all really exciting.
Yeah, I actually did that in high school, and I ended up missing a baseball season for it, and it's not an easy recovery. It's a very labor intensive recovery.
Yes.
Not a lot
Yes.
of down days with that.
No, not at all.
Gotcha. So, as far as your normal prep would look like, and how that's been obviously you've had to change how you've trained because of the rehab process. Have you been able to get in, now that you're running and stuff, have you been able to get in some more softball related activity? Has it been a total revamp, or, have you had to change your obviously you've had to change it, but to what extent?
So now that I'm starting to get back into it, I have done a lot of stuff at my house. So I've done a lot of like stuff with a tennis ball for fielding purposes, a lot of footwork for fielding, and then glove work. And then as far as like the offensive side, just a lot of dry swings. I never really did a lot of dry swings, growing up and playing softball. And then now I feel like that's all I can do, which I'll take what I can get, trust me. But a lot of dry swings, and then hitting off the tee, and I'm finally advancing into front toss. So it's been a step by step. Yeah, and I've really, with this whole process, I've really, really learned to celebrate the little things, because as you know, you said you went through it, especially in the very beginning, it's kind of slow. And so you have to get your extension, you're relearning how to walk. So you're trying to ride the bike again. So you celebrate the little things. So I started out
Did you have to sleep with did you sleep with the mobilizer?
Yes.
That moves your knee? Oh, that's not a good few weeks of sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. It was rough for a couple weeks there.
Yeah. So, you have played with Team USA prior to this. Talk a little bit about what your College World Series experiences were like versus your Team USA experiences. Obviously, both are like the largest stage. Just kind of curious, those are two. If someone could play in one, I think they'd be pretty excited. So you've gotten to do them both. What's different about them? What's been super cool about each?
Well, I think, being on Team USA in general, it comes with obviously a large crowd of Team USA. Everybody is going around your country and supporting your country. And so with that, it comes with a lot of fans, comes with a lot of pride. And so that's an awesome stage to be on. And some of my biggest crowds that I've played in front of, we are actually in Japan. And my very first time suiting up in a game for Team USA was in Japan, and there was 30,000 fans. And I mean, it was awesome. It was in the Tokyo Dome, which is a baseball stadium in Tokyo. And there was 30,000 fans. I mean, you couldn't even hear yourself think, it felt like. And so that was an awesome experience. Same thing when we qualified in 2018 in Tokyo. But also the College World Series, I mean, that in itself is an awesome experience. And in Oklahoma City, it's not really a fishbowl, but it's almost like the crowd is on top of you and they're screaming. And there's also a lot of pride with your universities. And so the experiences are the same but different, and they're both, just that goosebump. The thrill. You love to be there. That's when you thrive. That's like what you dream about when you're younger. And they are both amazing experiences. And I'm really, really blessed, like you said, that I got to experience, or I am experiencing both. And I know that the Olympics, I'm crossing my fingers that the Olympics with fans in the stands, it's going to be just as electric.
I think so. The Women's College World Series is, I think, a very underrated ESPN broadcast every year. Like, it is, whether you're a fan of the sport or not, it is very entertaining to watch. Like, elite college programs go at it. And I always think the coolest part of softball is the pace of the game that we don't always get in baseball. And so it just makes everything, it's just, the energy level is so high. It is so entertaining to watch.
Yes. Softball is very entertaining. 7 innings, very fast paced, like you said. And the Women's College World Series and postseason in general is getting ratings like you can't even imagine. And so that's really exciting for our sport.
Very cool. So you went 3 times. You guys did not win any of those 3.
No.
We
Are you saying that
personally,
because you did?
No. My question is,
kidding.
fortunately, we went once. I had a terrible start, but that's not here nor there. I was fortunate to get to go back and win, and it was kind of a redemption thing. So you guys have battled at UCLA is a very decorated program, and I know the girls won really after your career there. As far as bittersweet moments, obviously you're proud of your program. How has been that adversity made you a better softball player, and kind of what was your process like to get through? Obviously, that's a pretty difficult situation.
Well, when they won in 2019, we were there. I was there. A lot of us were there. And I mean, I was in tears. I was crying. I was so happy for the program. And the reason is that we spent a lot of time, the classes before me, and then while I was there, we spent so much time to get Bruin softball back on the map, back into the Women's College World Series, into the final champ series, and then eventually win it. And I think a lot of people that, go to a powerhouse or a college where the softball team, we're trying to get back. We have that tradition of winning national championships. It doesn't just happen in 1 year, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Sure.
So we have been preparing. We prepared for that, the classes before that. And I think it really tells a lot that, they won in 2019, and they did it. They rocked the field, and they absolutely killed it out there. But there was a lot that went behind that, and they understand that. The coaching staff understands that. And so that's why I had so much pride, and I had tears in my eyes because of that amazing accomplishment. So it's adversity, sure, but at the same time, like, that you had an impact on that
Right.
process and that national championship. And I mean, don't get me wrong, they did everything. Like, they rocked it on the field.
No, but
at the
that's a
same
very
time,
cool perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
You're able to get for
softball.
more than just yourself.
Right. Yes.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it was a process to get us back to the World Series. Awesome too. Since 2000, we've been in the World Series, and then fine.
Yeah, it's been very dominant for a long time, so it's very cool to see.
Yeah.
So kind of the pros list's whole theme is we want to know what the professionals have done, who they've trained with, what the routines they've developed. Kind of, the whole goal for us is to provide younger athletes with the information of, if you want to be the next Delaney, this is kind of the routine that I've built. This is what I've trained. This is how I've done it. So I think it'd be cool if maybe you could give some of our younger viewers like some insight into your development, when you started focusing on certain aspects of your career, as far as strength and conditioning, hitting coaches, that sort of thing, and kind of where you made your own decisions, and what you've seen, as I know you coach now as well, what you've seen kind of from younger athletes and the progression that they should go through.
Yeah, I think softball is definitely developing faster now than it did when I was playing, and even before then. So by saying that, I didn't really even lift weights until probably about high school, and probably even midway through high school. And nowadays I know that, girls are lifting a lot younger, which is great because I see direct correlation in the weight room to the softball field. But, when I started and growing up in the travel ball world, I had different hitting lessons or different hitting instructors, and then until I found my best fit. And I think that's also important. You don't have to necessarily go to your hitting instructor because they're your coach. Find your best fit that works well for you, your personality, and your swing. And so I really found that with Mike Stith in Anaheim, and he was the head coach for my softball program as well. But I found great success whenever I went to him for defense and for offense. That started around 12, 13 years old. And I went to him until I graduated high school. And then which is really awesome is that I went through college with the whole college experience. And then once I graduated and found myself playing after college, I went back to Mike. And now I'm before I got injured, I was working out with him offensively, defensively. And then as far as the strength and conditioning, I in high school, I locally went to EM training over here in Rancho, and that I found really good success in that. And then, like I said, after college, I went back to Mike, and he had a new business called Dynamic Athletics, and I worked out there, strength and conditioning with Strat and Kim, and I have really found success and some very good, strength exercising there as well, obviously before I got injured. But I plan to go back after, probably, I'm hoping, beginning of next year as well.
Very cool. So we're 5 months in, or 5.5 months into rehab. When are you like cleared, and what's the process? What's like the last few steps for July of 2021 as far as softball play?
Yeah. Okay. So it's really up in the air as long as my process and everything is going smooth sailing as it is now, knock on wood. In December, we have a training camp, and so I should be cleared to do hitting and fielding with a brace on. And then from there, I'll just continue to add certain things as far as like running the bases, sprinting, and stuff along the lines of that. So I'm looking to get like fully cleared, and probably around March-ish.
Okay.
March-ish. Good. And then brace it up, and then like before, just own it.
Nice. Good. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. This has been awesome. Super good insight into kind of, where you're at right now and how you got here. And obviously,
yes, thank you so much.
I love to hear good Bruins stories.
Absolutely. Go Bruins.
So we're all pretty excited to watch you in the Olympics and represent the whole squad. So thanks again for joining us. And I appreciate you sharing, kind of how you got here and who's helped you along the way. It's been great.
Of course. Thank you for inviting me.